What's up, my YouTube family? It's your boy Roberto, back with some more videos, Roberto Conspiracy Files. And on this episode, guys, we are going to talk about the super soldiers in Ukraine that have been exposed by Russia. So I was on a live with Dwayne McClain TV last night, and I was talking about this, and this is something that's really serious. I made videos about it on my previous channel that was deleted. Again, and everybody, thanks for the 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate it. We're getting back. Let's see if we can get back to that 10,000 mark that we were at before I got banned on my other channel before the year ends. Okay, so back in this video, guys, we're going to jump straight into it talking about the super soldiers. So the Western media says Russian lawmakers basically claim their army is up against biological modified super soldiers. Guys, this is coming from Russian politicians. This isn't some guy on the internet trying to, come up with reasons for why they're, random internet guy just making up stuff. This is actually coming from Russian lawmakers that know a lot about things that the United States are capable of and what the U.S. has been doing in Ukraine for years. This war is more than just about uh 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 territory, NATO moving towards Russia and getting closer on the board. It's a lot more to do with it, guys. And some of this stuff is why. So Russian lawmakers this week floated the baseless claim that Ukraine has super soldiers. Of course, this is Western media, so you're going to hear a lot of stuff saying baseless claims and stuff like that. One lawmaker said the Ukrainians were being given drugs to turn them into monsters. Russia has long pushed outlandish claims about Ukrainian biolabs that aren't backed by evidence. So we're going to go back to let's see, 2005. Okay, so U.S. Defense Documents 2010, Biolab opens up in Ukraine. Plans for the facility begin in 2005 with Senator Barack Obama, who acknowledges seeing tubes containing anthrax and other dangerous bioweapons in presidential speech. So this is when he was running towards, running for president. He spoke about some of this stuff. 2005 is when he was a senator, and Obama had a huge doing in creating these biolabs that are now in Ukraine that Russia's talking about and that Russia's trying to destroy. And early in the war, guys, there was an article that came out about Putin targeting U.S. biolabs in Ukraine. Is Putin targeting U.S. biolabs in Ukraine? The truth behind the internet theory. So we all know that there are biolabs all around Ukraine. You can see here on the map, this is the Western media showing these labs. Most of the labs are over here in this area and down here. So you got a lot of labs up here, down here, and some over here by the Donbass region that's being occupied by the rebels, if you want to call them, whatever you want to call them. Not many on the Western Hemisphere because they want these labs close to the border of Russia so that they can kill Russia from the inside out. I spoke about this on the live. The goal is to create these super soldiers, release these bugs out in Russia and kill Russia from the inside out by infecting their people. Now, Russia has kind of helped speed up the process because Russia has now separated themselves from the rest of the world. Only people that even the Russian people are really allowed to go are countries that are allied with Russia. So this helps more. So when they start releasing these bugs inside of Russia, Russia can't do anything about it because their people can't run anywhere. They're trapped. Putin knew about these labs for a very long time. That's part of the reason this war started. It's because they were trying to get the United States to get rid of these labs. So a Twitter thread has gone viral, making eyebrow-raising claims that the Russian government is taking down American biolabs in Ukraine under the pretext of the special military operation that has pushed the world on the brink of all-out war. The claim surfaced shortly after Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping met recently and issued a joint statement slamming the U.S. bioweapons activities. It's worth noting that both Russia and the Soviet Union have a long history of bioweapons related to misinformation. The latest allegations came as Russia launched a terrifying military operation in preparation for a potential invasion of Ukraine. So this is at the start of the war when Russia invaded Ukraine. So now, guys, let's go back to Obama and his doings with these biolabs. So In June 2010, an article details how Barack Obama, while serving as a U.S. Senator from Illinois, was a prominent in negotiating for deals to build a level 3 biosafety lab in Odessa, Ukraine, which would handle especially dangerous pathogens. Odessa, Ukraine. You guys think about that. That is one of the cities that have been getting bombed like crazy, and Russia has been doing everything to occupy that city. And the Ukrainians have been doing everything to protect that city and keep it under Ukrainian control. This is where a lot of the super soldiers are stationed at. You guys don't notice a lot of times some of these cities are only, being defended by a handful of Ukrainians, maybe a couple hundred, and they're fending off the Russians. Yes, they're getting a lot of advanced equipment, but there's more to it. It's more reasons why they're able to hold off the Russians. And that's because they do have these super soldiers, and those biolabs are right there in Ukraine, especially in this Odessa region, where this right now is telling us when he was a senator, Obama approved this. He made this happen. He was the start of this. Among the viruses, the lab study were Ebola, viruses of pathogenicity group 2 by using virology, a molecular, serological, and express methods. I'm sorry if I can't say these words right. I'm not a scientist. You already know how smart scientists are. These crazy words. This laboratory was reconstructed and technically updated up to the BSL level 3 through a cooperative agreement between the United States and Department of Defense and Minister of Health of Ukraine that started in 2005. The collaboration focused on preventing the spread of technologies, pathogens, and the knowledge that can be used in development of biological weapons, according to a 2011 report by the U.S. National Academy of Science Committee on Anticipating Biosecurity Challenges of the Global Expansion of High Contaminant Biological Laboratories. Additionally, the lab provided special training for specialists of biosafety and biosecurity issues during the handling of dangerous biological pathogenic agents. So Obama had a big doing in this. And even as president of the United States, Putin knew about these labs, and he knew what their goal was. Their goal was to get these labs, create these things, and release them in Russia. Russia wants to protect its people at all costs, and they will do anything to protect its people. A defense document from years ago, complied by USAF counter. God, these names are crazy. Whatever. Alabama police state that a U.S.-funded biolab opened up around June 17, 2010 in Odessa, Ukraine. U.S. Senator Dick Lugar applauded the opening of the interim Central Reference Laboratory in Odessa, Ukraine this week, announcing that it will be instrumental in researching dangerous pathogens used by bioterrorists. The high-risk lab was first built of a series plan under the New Lugar Cooperative Threat Reduction Program. The Level 3 Biosafety Lab, which is the first built under the expanded authority of the Non-Lugar Cooperative Threat Reduction Program, will be used to study anthrax, tularemia, and acute fever, as well as other dangerous pathogens. This is what Russia knows. This is the scary part. This is what's bothering the Vladimir Putin, because he knows this, and he already knows. He found out what they were trying to do to the Russian people. Lugar said plans for the facility began in 2005 when he and then Senator Barack Obama entered a partnership with the Ukrainian officials. Lugar and Obama also helped coordinate efforts between the U.S. and Ukrainian researchers that year in an effort to study and help prevent avian flu. So this has been going on for years, guys. Years. And like I said, Vladimir Putin been knowing about this, and he's been trying his best to prevent them from going forward with these labs and allowing them to finish the final product of these labs. They've been studying on Ukrainian people, prisoners of war, Russian citizens. A lot of people have been caught in the midst of this, and they've been testing on people. They've been releasing these bugs and sabotaging small third world countries to see how it works. And now you see the Russians found out about this, and Ukraine is doing everything to prevent them from getting control of any of these cities with these labs. They do not want Russia to get control of these labs, because then they'll find out the truth to come out, and then you'll see a whole lot of stuff going on and a lot of things being exposed to the world. And you got to think, why would Ukraine allow vice president at the time, Joe Biden was vice president, his son, to get a high position in the company with no experience? Millions of dollars coming his way. It's because of these biolabs that the United States was helping create, and Ukraine would help them in the near future. So Ukraine was returning the favor for a favor. So back to why these Russian lawmakers are talking about the super soldiers. If you know all this stuff beforehand that I just went into, then you'll understand what they meant by saying they're creating super soldiers. They have been. These super soldiers are being used for war, and the United States was using this as a testing ground. So when it's time for the United States to go to war with another superpower, they have these super soldiers too. So they're more prepared and more likely to win with using less soldiers. Less, because they're super soldiers. For every 5 soldiers is 1 super soldier is equal to every 5 soldiers. So this is a huge advantage. And like I said, this is why Russia is part of the reason why Russia is struggling against Ukraine, because their soldiers are not just getting killed by a random 1 or 2 bullets or whatever. They're taking clips after clip. These are really, we're seeing zombie people out here. We are watching zombie people. That's what this all boils down to. The soldiers in Ukraine are not ordinary. Not all of them, but only in these areas that they've created enough super soldiers, because it takes time to create a super soldier. It takes time. And Ukraine had a good few thousand of super soldiers, and they're using these super soldiers to defend these cities. Why do you think some of these cities are being defended for so long with so little? Because they are super soldier cities. So, like I was saying, Russia has long pushed outlandish claims about Ukraine biolabs that aren't backed by evidence. I just went over the evidence with you guys. So what you see is Western propaganda. 2 Russian lawmakers this week pushed absurd conspiracy theories that Ukrainians were being turned into cruel, deadly monsters in the country's biolabs. Now, for this to be made up by politicians just sound crazy. There's some truth in this somewhere. There is some truth. Ukrainians just don't I'm sorry, not Ukrainians, but politicians don't just randomly come up with these type of conspiracy theories. There has to be some kind of truth along these lines. These politicians know what the normal person does not know, or don't even attempt to look up. So the 2 politicians, Konstantin Konzavash, I can't say their name, Deputy Speaker of Russia's Federation Council, and Irina Yarovova, Deputy Chair of the State Duma, are currently spearheading an investigation into the alleged laboratories in Ukraine, per Russian news outlet Kommersant. I can't say these Russian things. I apologize. So Russia and Ukraine right now, United States has been sending so much weapons and giving billions of dollars to Ukraine, because if these labs get out in the world, finds out about it, not just not necessarily the Western part of the world, but the other countries, China, all these other countries find out about it, this will change the dynamic of the world, and people will realize some of the things have been going on and it's being exposed. So they're giving them so much weapons to the point where they might as well be at war with Russia themselves. Our country might as well be at war because of all this stuff that's being exposed. And the United States cannot afford for Russia to get these biolabs. The claims appear to have been taken one step further by the Russian politicians this week, who said they had tested the blood of a captured Ukrainian soldier and found what they claimed was evidence of experiments for military purposes, per Kezement. There is no evidence of Ukraine deploying genetically modified super soldiers, says the West. So, I mean, there's just, there's a lot that goes into it, guys. So, back in World War II, Hitler drugged his soldiers with, cocaine, all types of drugs to enhance them. But not on this level. This is altering the DNA of human beings. This is turning people into zombies. And there's going to be a huge effect after this war. We're going to see a huge effect after this war. And this may this may be the change to society. Because if these super soldiers get to the point where they can't be controlled and they start, just imagine Ukraine winning the war and moving towards further into Russia to the point where they take Russia. And then these super soldiers keep building and building and building to the point where the leaders cannot control them. And next thing you know, Ukraine has been taken over by the super soldiers. Then Poland, then Romania, and Iraq, Iran, all these countries just start getting taken over by Ukraine. France, Spain, Europe just starts falling down. Germany, Czechoslovakia, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, however you say it. Just imagine what would happen. Now we're living in a world where we are the slaves to the super soldiers. And why do you think the United States tests these things so far away from home? Because if it gets out of control to the point where they cannot control them anymore, it's happening nowhere near the States. It's all the way in Europe and Asia and the Middle East. So I'm just going to say K for one claim without substantiation that there were extremely dangerous diseases and substances found in the soldiers' blood per the outlet. So he's saying there was a lot of altered diseases and stuff found in this soldier's blood, meaning they did alter this soldier's blood to the point where he became a super soldier. He was invincible. Things did not hurt him. This is what happens, guys. This stuff is legit. This is not no bullcrap. Kate also reported on Yorokova's comments to report in which she claimed without evidence that the performance-enhancing drugs were being given to Ukrainian soldiers to completely neutralize the last traces of human consciousness and turn them into cruel and deadly monsters. So he's basically saying these are no longer human. These are monsters with no consciousness like we have, like how we're conscious and we're thinking and focusing for ourselves. They have no control. They are now monsters. They're beasts who are just going to war to kill, and they cannot be hurt. Nothing hurts them. They don't care about anything because they have no hearts, no feelings, no anything. Russians are studying these soldiers, man. Why do you think they moved from by the capital and just went to the Donbass region to the east? Because they knew what was going on, and they knew it was not possible for the Russians to possibly enter the capital because these super soldiers and how many of the super soldiers were protecting the capital. They would lose a ton of their military, and they would make them so weak and crippled that they couldn't risk it. Why do you think that long convoy never made it to the capital? This is what's happening in Russia and Ukraine war right now. Per outlet, Yarvia also claimed that Ukraine has committed crimes against civilians and prisoners of war, while also basically blaming the U.S. for its involvement in the controlled creation of the cruel murder machine. Russia has long pushed the outlandish conspiracy theory that the Ukrainians have been carrying out nefarious experiments in the country's labs. In March, just 2 weeks after the Russian invasion began, state-linked media organizations basically claimed that U.S. operating biological weapon laboratories in Ukraine, but that conspiracy was debunked. Guys, I'm telling you now, there is super soldiers right there in Ukraine, and these super soldiers are eventually going to they eventually going to take Russia out. Russia cannot compete against these super soldiers unless they start using nukes. That is the only way that Russia can prevent Ukraine from winning this war. You cannot beat super soldiers. And the United States created these super soldiers in order for wars like this and to cripple these other countries. China will be next. And I'll talk about the China and Nancy Pelosi going to Taiwan thing to provoke China. I'll talk about that in another time. But I'm telling you guys now, what we are seeing is the start of a different type of war game. A war using super soldiers. A war where the people are no longer people. but they're monsters. They're heartless. You don't want to get captured, and you do not want to see them when they start evolving and changing into the real beast that they are. This is stage 1 of the super soldiers. Just imagine the other stages. Guys, the super soldiers of Ukraine are changing the way things are done. Like and subscribe to the channel, guys. Roberto Conspiracy Files. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Let's get back to where we used to be, guys. Let's keep exposing the politicians and the evil around the world. The Illuminati. We're going to keep it. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to go deep in the details. And we're going to expose everything that's going on. Guys, again, hit that like, subscribe button. Turn your post notifications on. And support the channel.